Today, I want to compare ChatGPT and Google Gemini. Now, I've been using ChatGPT since the first day it came out, but more recent advancements and improvements in Google Gemini leads me to think, well, can I just be using that for everything, especially as I already pay for a Google Workspace account? And so in today's video, we're going to put them to the test. We're going to go through everyday stuff to see which is better as a daily assistant, then ramp it up into step-by-step reasoning, image generation, deep research and feature comparisons, as well as putting it through a complete coding test. So let's dive straight in. We're going to be using ChatGPT in dark mode and Google Gemini in light mode, so you can see the difference as we progress through these tasks. So let's kick off easy with simple everyday tasks. I'm going to paste the same messy email into both and ask them to rewrite it for a client and see which is just better off the bat. So we'll just say, you're my communication assistant. Here's a rough email I wrote, and then the sort of messy noted email there. Save us the pain of spending 10 or 15 minutes trying to perfect wording to make sure we're polite and polished in how we're communicating. You'll notice ChatGPT was really quick. It ran straight away and actually gave us a few tightened versions to try. So we've actually got 3 options here. Gemini took a little longer to respond, but it's given us 3 options as well. The professional and polished both came out. Interestingly, Gemini's actually given us a subject line, which is another helpful thing not to have to worry about. Got thank you for your patience. I've had a heavier workload than usual recently, but still very eager to move forward with our collaboration. Sorry for the slow reply. It's been a hectic week. Straight away, ChatGPT's put the M dashes in there, which everyone knows that that's a sign that you're using AI, which we probably don't want to alert people so aggressively. So they still haven't perfected how many M dashes they're using in their stuff at OpenAI. Still very keen to work together. Haven't had the headspace to respond. And then it comes up with offering a relaxed option to book a call. And very similar on Google Gemini. No M dashes, but would love to connect soon. Would you have time next week or following week? Then we've got warm and relatable versus direct and efficient, short and direct, warm but professional. So they've all given options there. I like that Google Gemini added the subject line option and less M dashes. So it probably came out slightly ahead, and it gave a few key improvements to help me understand why this communication is better. So Gemini has come out better, in my opinion, on this first easy task. Now we'll go back to the main chat window here, and actually you'll see generally that both platforms are pretty similar. You've got the usual setup as you'll be used to with using LLMs. Both have a dictation mode there, so we can actually dictate our prompts and use microphones to work with the AI systems. But we can also, of course, hit the plus buttons, add and upload files on Gemini. We can hit the settings button, and we can activate deep research, videos, images, Canvas to work in a right-hand side pane, and guided learning. Whereas on ChatGPT, we have all of those, but it's probably more feature-rich in terms of they've got this new shopping research mode. So if you want to research products, then it is actually pretty good for that. I found it works really well. And we've got agent mode if we want to browse the web or let ChatGPT browse and use the web from this browser, which I guess is a step up on Gemini in terms of the basic feature options being available. But we'll carry on with our everyday assistance tasks. Now I'm going to ask both for 15 lead magnet ideas, and then we'll judge which is actually usable. So I'll put my prompts in here for you and just give you an overview of what they're going to do. You're an expert. You're a world-class project strategist and funnel builder with 20 years experience. You specialize in brainstorming digital tools to help solve a specific problem. So we're looking to come up with ideas or apps that we can build that serve as lead magnets for my business. Now, before I just run these prompts, it'd be interesting to note that Google Gemini, you can choose on how you want your answers processed. We can use fast mode, or it generally sets itself on thinking with 3 Pro, which is its most advanced model. Whereas ChatGPT 5, we can have different options. It generally uses auto to decide which is going to be better for this task. But I'm actually going to switch thinking mode on so that they're both running on a level playing field. Now, ChatGPT gets to work straight away, where even with its thinking mode on, whereas Google Gemini is taking its time to think it through and come up with its concepts for us. While we look at that, we'll have a better look at what ChatGPT's come out. Let's put them in a nice table here as requested, with the problem, the audience, how it delivers value, and the next natural step, which is everything we want. And we can start looking at some of these ideas. AI use case finder. People do not know where AI will actually help their business this week. Small business and solo founders, 60-second quiz to output top 3 high impact AI workflows. Paid AI opportunity map. That's actually, like, straight off the bat, that is really good. I would actually build that and use this for my YouTube channel when I'm making videos on how to use Google Gemini. What are some great use cases that would help people in the real world. So straight off the way, it's actually come up with a really useful app that we could build and just let people use. We've got AI tool matchmakers to match users to particular tools for what they need to do, SOP builders, an offer angle multiplier. So actually there's some solid angles in here. Now we'll jump over to Google Gemini and see how that's come up with its ideas. We'll zoom out a little bit so we can see that a bit better, I think. We can actually show thinking, so we can see like how it arrived at where it arrived, but we'll look at the results here. The first one, the perfect prompt architect. Yeah, okay, that's fine. It's for users struggling to write prompts. AI ROI forecaster, brand voice DNA extractor, the AI tools stack matchmaker, analysis paralysis. There are too many AI tools and people don't know which to choose. Again, we had that over on ChatGPT as well, a 1-minute quiz that helps match people to the tools for their business, a cold email open generator. Is it automatable auditor? Again, helping people work out if a particular task is actually automatability. I've never said that word before. Which I actually quite like, giving it a list of tasks like what task could AI actually handle and how they could actually handle that. Honestly, both are pretty good. I probably would err on the side of ChatGPT for these set of answers. Firstly, it was quicker. It just like snapped them out real fast. And while Gemini's are good, the Midjourney style picker, I don't know if they solve as painful problems as the ChatGPT ones that are coming out. So we'll have to give a point to ChatGPT on this side. I want to see who can actually reason and think with constraints instead of just dumping tips and ideas out. So again, we need to make sure thinking mode's on, but the task here, we need some step-by-step reasoning with some constraints. So you're a planning assistant, I run a small business and want to design a focused work week. Some constraints for it, 35 hours a week, 2 deep work blocks a day for 90 minutes apiece. Sales calls, Fridays I stop after 2 p.m. And then tasks I need to fit in each week. Sales calls, admin, client delivery, 4 hours of marketing and content. I want it to create a sample schedule, explain in bullet points, and list the trade-offs between how we can improve it. Both taking their time to go through this. Okay, Gemini's outputting and giving me my schedule slightly faster. Now, interestingly, with both of these as well, we could actually hook up to Google Calendar once we get this and actually get it to organize my calendar directly as well. But while ChatGPT finishes there and schedules, we'll look at Google Gemini's output. So here's a focus strategy. We've got an actual theory to our strategy as well, the batched hybrid. The schedule uses time blocking to separate high cognitive load tasks, interesting, from low cognitive word tasks like admin. Total work under 35 hours in 10 blocks of deep work for 15 hours, which is essentially what I need to complete each week to make the money I want to make. And then we've got our schedule, which is Monday to Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 and 8 to 2 on Fridays, kicking off with our deep work block early, our high cognitive load, until 10, take a break, ops and sales block put into mid-morning before lunch, and then a deep work block 2 after lunch. Whereas over on ChatGPT, now we're finished, it's actually kind of not laid it out as easy to digest. But I mean, we could go and ask it to put it in a different format. But again, it's gone similar, deep work early in the morning and after our break in the morning, whereas it's leaving afternoons for admin, clients, sales. But essentially, it's blocking those 90 minutes in the morning instead of spreading them out further through the day, front-loaded. I'd probably err on the side of probably like the slight edge goes to Google Gemini in creating our calendar layout nicely. And I did prefer the way it blocked my deep work into one session in the morning and one session after lunch, allowing some flexibility time in that to maybe get through emails, sales calls, things like that, to give you more flexibility through your day rather than just hard focus work in the morning and afternoons open. And interestingly, the 3 trade-offs and weaknesses are really interesting because ChatGPT has me working 9 till 6:30 on Monday to Thursday to allow me to finish earlier on a Friday, whereas Gemini had me working 8:30 till 4:30 every day, finishing at 2 on a Friday, but just stacking those tasks on a Friday that were going to be able to be delivered quicker and more efficiently. Now, one of the big reasons in the past that I've stuck with ChatGPT is its image generation has been really great for me and a lot of the stuff I do in content work and lead magnets and for YouTube. But Nano Banana Pro seems to be like everyone's talking about it and it feels like it's light years ahead. So I want to actually put them head to head and see how they design thumbnails and infographics with a bit of complex requests in there. So we're going to start with a quick YouTube thumbnail design to see if either of them are actually passable at all, because it's been tough going in the past. Create a YouTube thumbnail for ChatGPT versus Gemini. I let them run my business for a day. Split screen layout, my face in the middle, looking slightly skeptical. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to upload an image of my face as well. Okay, we've got Gemini working really quickly. Nano Banana was less than a minute to generate this. But actually, it's one of the better thumbnail generations that I've actually seen. I would probably take this into Canva and maybe tweak the text and the standout nature of that. But actually, these blocks down here and the fact that it's added me in there nicely, for most people, that's going to do a really good job. And I might, you might be watching this having clicked on pretty much this thumbnail. We'll see how ChatGPT is doing. But I'm pretty impressed with that, especially the speed at which it did it. Whereas over on ChatGPT, we're still waiting, although it's given us the option to create another image. But I do find it slow now compared to a lot of other systems, which is kind of frustrating. I say it's frustrating, like, oh no, I've got to wait 2 minutes for something to auto-generate me an image. We're so demanding these days. While we wait for ChatGPT, actually, I want to just actually set Gemini on our next task to get ahead of the game, and I want it to create a LinkedIn resume career map. So please create, and this is another bit more complex infographic style, please create a fun career graphic of my resume using a Star Wars theme, include relevant allusions and metaphors that connect my resume to the theme, so the career map feels coherent, writes all text legibly and clearly. Now, if you want to do this for yourself, you can jump over to LinkedIn as well and save your resume as a PDF from your LinkedIn profile, which is a neat way to do it. And you can upload that into Google Gemini, make sure you got create an image on and have that running. You see on the right here that ChatGPT is being slow. You do have this little wheel at the top, which usually shows you how much of the image has been generated. We're on 45% here, and it's finally generated. It might be because I didn't actually have the window open fully, so it might have been throttled in my browser, but it's still annoyingly slow that I can't navigate away from the page, and then the image gets generated. So, it's not winning this unless it comes up with an absolute banger design. And now it says it's 100% complete, but it doesn't look that complete to me. And to be honest, I can already see that the ChatGPT isn't within the confines of the image that we need. It looks to have, it's not got the text in there, has it? That's just not as good as what we had on Google Gemini. And my face is weird. I kind of look like it's used one of those those ageify apps that are like, is it aged me up but then de-wrinkled me? And then, this is just horrible. That is just horrible work. So there's no way that I can be using ChatGPT for my image generation if I'm helping to like come up with thumbnail designs and stuff. So they're both extracted easily from a document, and ChatGPT is going to render the graphic now. I actually really like what Google Gemini's come out with here. Like, we've got the cool Star Wars theme, and we've got all the information around my work history, etc. from the CV. It's got these weird citations in there, which I don't think we need necessarily, but like the Jedi Academy when I was at university, and mastery of AI business optimization is the final droid technology. It's really funny, these. But it's a really good challenge, actually, like how they pull data out of a document, organize it with something creative, and then create the final thing. So finally, our ChatGPT infographic has finished, and you got to say it's not good. It's just not as good as Gemini's. The text isn't all actually well written or even spelt correctly. The design's not as good. It's not as creative. Nowhere near as good as what we had over on Gemini here. Like, the comparison is night and day for what we've got on the output there. Now, one of the big things we need to do is research, and I want to see who's a better researcher rather than just sounds confident and might make stuff up. So I've switched on the deep research mode in both these tools, which you can see is easy to do in the bottom here. And in the process, they're acting as a research assistant for a small online education business. I teach AI for business leaders, professionals, business owners, and want to launch a new $500 digital product in the next 90 days. So I need it to give me 3 realistic target target customer segments, give me 3 product ideas with the format and promise that uses credible sources, gives me direct links and citations so I can find out that all of this is true, as well as putting it all into a clear structure. Now, we've got both reports analysed and finished already here. It takes 10 to 20 minutes to run some of these reports, and on first glance, ChatGPT's is nicely broken down into bullet points, all with citations and everything, and it took 9 minutes across only 18 sources for its 43 searches. And over here on Gemini, we've got this nice table of contents, which we can see again. We've got part 1, 2, 3 nicely broken up, and the final report isn't as bulleted. It is just a long document that we're going through. It's come up with its ideal targets of operational small business owners, boutique agency founders, and corporate managers in transition. So we're not just talking about like small business owners. We're talking about operational business owners. We're talking about boutique agency founders to give us a really clear image of who we're going to be talking to with these products and problems. We've got some interesting areas looked at: the skill fitness crisis of people not knowing how to make these shift into these new AI tools, and the ROI and implementation gap, which have a clear USP or a unique thing that we're targeting in my mind: operational SMB business owner, the efficiency seeker. So it's nice branding of these problems and pains they're featuring in, and even built us a curriculum and technical architecture for this digital course or cohort or training program, and giving us our commercial viability. And it goes through those things for all of our ideas here. Now, over on ChatGPT's deep research, again, we can see its method and its thought process and its sources, as we just saw on Gemini. And it doesn't have too much waffle early on. Like, it's straight to the point, like customer segments, business leaders, C-level executives, mid-career professionals, and small business owners. I'd say these customer segments aren't as defined as in Gemini. Gemini gave me more of a person of like a boutique agency owner struggling to pivot their service offerings to adapt to AI. Although we do get through into the pains and desires generally of business leaders and the other areas, along with nicely referenced stats to back up that information. And then we get into a quick rundown of the product ideas: executive AI strategy bootcamp, a cohort-based online bootcamp, AI marketing mastery course. So it's easier to pick through this really, really quickly and look at what's going on. But honestly, I find Gemini is going to be way more useful. We've got the sort of overview here in ChatGPT, but for Gemini, we can pick through using this table of contents. But for each thing, we had the concept and value proposition. We had the full product idea sort of sketched out and ready to go. Even had a curriculum there, so I can kind of be like, yes, this either works or doesn't work for me. Now, we've been talking about building little apps for lead magnets and digital product ideas. Let's test out their coding ability with what should be quite a straightforward task for a modern LLM. I'll pop this in here, and we've got just something simple. Build a tiny web app. Do you remember earlier we were looking at prioritizing your work day and your calendar? We'll build a tiny web app that enters a list of tasks that assigns an impact 1 to 5, effort 1 to 5, and the app calculates a priority score to sort tasks by importance. So ChatGPT is off and coding straight away. Gemini taking a little more time just to think about its effort and stuff, but it's actually got going pretty quickly as well. Now, they both look like they've finished coding in less than a few minutes here, so we'll open up. Let's kick off with Gemini first here, and we've got our code there. It's got the visual metaphor and the matrix, which is kind of what we were aiming for, but actually it couldn't run it inside Gemini, which I kind of wanted it to run inside the platform here. So it's going to have to rewrite the simulated output for us to see how we get on. Whereas ChatGPT, we'll go over and we'll just hit the preview button, and we've got our app running. So it's definitely done a better job straight off the bat. Input, effort, task organizer. We can add tasks and score and everything we've asked for. Actually, we've got a load sample tasks button here. And we'll see when we've actually put them in and it's scored them. We've got high leverage, launch a referral nudge email, easy thing to do to boost sales, fix top 3. We go down and we've got the impact score and the effort in there as well. This is a nice, neat little thing. If you've got a to-do list, bang it in here. Which should you start with first in the highest leverage, least effort columns? I've actually just trying again in Gemini because it didn't run. I've actually then gone onto the homepage here, hit build an idea, and then put it in again to see if it actually can build me the app. I don't just want a Python script. I want something nice that we can use, because this is going to be a little digital helper. And here we go. This is what I wanted. Now we're building in a canvas. It should be coding us up our little app. And initially it's run into an error, but we can hit fix error and see if it can fix itself in the business leverage calculator app. Okay, Gemini looks like it's done now, and we've got to say straight away that the design isn't, I mean, maybe I just like dark mode. I don't know, but the design doesn't seem as fun. We'll get rid of these tasks that were in automatically. Now, interestingly, it looks like it's going to make me put in tasks one by one and score them myself. So this isn't automated. So on ChatGPT, like, I've got to put things in one by one here and score them myself, and then it'll just sort by priority, right? That's not really what I was looking for. I was looking for the app to actually do that itself, which it seemed like ChatGPT did. Oh no, to be fair, ChatGPT, I just loaded sample tasks and it put them in there, but I did have to put in tasks myself and score them myself. So I guess, they both work pretty similar. Like, ChatGPT's design was a bit nicer, to be fair. Gemini had a full start. I didn't get the settings right, and I'd have to give the win to ChatGPT on this task, which surprised me, actually. I thought Gemini would probably do a better job here. Now, elsewhere in the feature comparison, as we said at the start, or nearer to the start, ChatGPT does seem to have more features in here. When we open it up, we've got different modes in here. We've got standard and extended thinking there, but we've got agent mode, and I know Gemini are in the process of launching their agent mode, but it doesn't exist yet. Plus, we've got shopping research, as well as the voice mode where we can talk back and forth. Now, on the left-hand side in the sidebar here as well, we obviously got things like custom GPTs, where you can build specific sort of versions of ChatGPT for specific use cases. And we have projects where you can add files, store project knowledge, have chats grouped nicely. So you could open these for specific clients or very specific projects you're working on, and have specific instructions in there of how you want it to act, as well as what files you want included in your project for the context of everything you're working on. Now, over on Gemini, we have something very similar to projects. Now, what we don't have are custom GPTs, but we have something called gems. And gems are exactly the same as ChatGPT projects and Claude projects and that sort of thing. We can open them up with specific instructions. You'll see here, we can have specific names, descriptions, instructions of how what we want it to do, and anything else in there. And we can add knowledge files for it to reference. So in that respect, it works one-on-one the same as ChatGPT projects. But I said, you can't make custom GPTs for anyone to use. Plus, we just have a few less options in here. They both have the ability to create video in there. But for sure, like, ChatGPT is more of a Swiss Army knife. It's more feature-rich and tends to be ahead of the curve in actually launching its newest features. Gemini has been playing catch up, but I think it's pretty close on its quality now, if not better, as we've seen through this video. Now, when it comes to pricing, Google Gemini was $18.99 a month here for AI Pro, but it does come as standard if you've got a Pro workspace as well, which gives you more access across the Google infrastructure. So I guess you get way more features back with a Google workspace. You can use Notebook LM advanced modes as well. And I think I pay about £15 a month for Google workspace. So it's coming in probably cheaper than ChatGPT, actually, if you're using it through workspace. ChatGPT pricing, £20 a month, is slightly more expensive. Most of these AI models are $20 a month. So you do tend to pay a bit more for ChatGPT, but you get everything we've just discussed in there. So it is a bit more expensive, but then you get more features built in there. It's a toss-up. Personally, Gemini through Workspace means I have the full Google infrastructure for cheaper. So I've got to probably give it a win on the pricing there as well, which means we can finally sum up here. Everyday tasks, Gemini maybe have the slight edge, but it's hard to tell between them. We've got to give it an even score, as well as on the thinking and reasoning tasks were pretty even. But where Gemini started to take the lead was images and deep research. It both scored better there. So it's 2 zip up through there. On available features, feature depth within the engines, which is what we're comparing here today. ChatGPT is more feature rich, so it's going to get a point back there. Coding, ChatGPT took it just an edge there as well. So we're probably 2-2 in terms of like places that have outstripped each other in the sort of work I'm using on. Pricing, Gemini was cheaper, so it takes the win there. especially when you couple in that you get all the other Google features and it runs across all your Google Workspace. ChatGPT just doesn't have that. So overall, final results 3-2 to Gemini. And honestly, I think there's not really much reason that I need to keep using ChatGPT when I have Google Gemini in my Google Workspace anyway.